What the heck? Sorry, guys.
There we are. Advance, of course, muted.
Well, I am so beyond confused right now. You don't understand. What happened on your guys' computer? I couldn't get the beginning intro to start.
What started like 3 times.
Oh man! Thank you, Spay One. That's actually my middle name is Dead Space.
That's one of my favorite games.
What's up, Say Wong? What is up, Force? And what is up, Mr. Anthony Allen? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right for the most part. You know, fucking hotter than shit in California right now. Which I mean, we've been lucky up until now. This week's been dreadful though. They did a bunch of rolling blackouts on Wednesday, so I fortunately kind of caught wind of things early enough on Wednesday that we decided, because of the heat and the threat of the blackouts, that we were going to cancel my show and postpone it.
Okay.
Just because we already had people kind of saying that they weren't comfortable coming out, or again, knowing my luck with technology, I was like, I already know we're going to get there. We're going to start the show, and right in the middle of my first number, we're going to have blackout, and then everyone's going to go home.
Right.
So, I mean, my house got hit with a couple. What's crazy is that I think I did the smart thing with that, because Walmart and Target and that entire center area was completely shut down by 6 o'clock. Everything closed early.
Wow.
So yeah, I was like, if Walmart closed, I don't think it was a bad idea. But
and we're the state that's supposed to have no gas cars sold here within the next few years. And we can't even keep our power on right now. I don't know.
Well, and Lodi has its own fucking power source. So the fact that they did that, I just it must be a thing. There's so much going on that it's too much, and that's going to cause an issue. Not that we don't have enough.
Right. Well, I know in my area, because we had the rolling blackout Wednesday, but they were saying that it was so hot that transformers were blowing out. So they were have to reroute power through other grids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
but
yeah. How's the heat where you are, Forrest?
It's not much better. I mean, it's 11:15, and you can step outside, and it still feels like a warm sheet is just thrown over you. A warm, wet sheet.
Yeah, because you guys have humidity to deal with too, right?
Oh, it's bad, and it's been raining like crazy, and it has not cooled anything off.
Is that use some of that rain? Shit.
Yeah, no doubt. We got some fires in California going on right now too, so it is not helping the situation.
Well,
a lot.
This has actually been a pretty tame year for fires in California. Usually half the state would have already been a tinderbox, and we would have had red ass skies for 5 nights. But
this is true. Well, I know there's just different parts of California are getting hit. We don't see it as much. They're not as big and glorious and sexy as some of the fires that we've had here in the past, but
I don't think I ever called the fires in California glorious or sexy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
More like destructive and demolishing.
Or terrifying. I mean, it's can I breathe outside today? I don't know if I should breathe outside today.
Sure sign it's time to move to Florida.
No, you could not pay me to move to Florida. I'm going north. if anywhere.
It's
Yeah.
Aubrey.
Hello.
I was told that as the climate change gets warmer, people will start heading north. So I think it's time to find my spot in Canada now, or learn to eat salmon and fish out in Alaska. What's up, Aubrey?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I hate this heat, like you
We-
guys are all talking about right now.
Is it like everywhere in the country, or is it just because we're on both extreme ends
It's
of the
been
country?
most of the world this year. Like that's why I just keep saying California's been lucky because like in France it was 120 for like a week, and they're not used to it. They don't have air conditioners out there.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
We're just
Climate-
woefully ill prepared for it.
global climate change doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah. No, warming doesn't exist. There's just not
No.
constant daily evidence. But whatever.
Right, yeah, and
No.
Fairfield hit an all-time record here a couple of days ago. So
Oh yeah,
So
Yeah,
it's
like
Sacramento.
it's not. Let's not anymore. I'm done. I hate the heat. I hate it as much. I want it to be rainy and
Oh,
cold already.
This
Can
is
we
going to
just
be
have
the
that,
coolest summer for the rest of your life, don't you know?
please? I'm no.
hello.
That's
Hey,
Yeah.
Say Wong, and hey to Janina.
And I wanted to go back to Say Wong. Say Wong, Sac Anime was interesting for me. It was my first time on the side, just going to hang out. Like, I'm so used to being a vendor, so I've never really gone to a con in a costume just to go hang out. So it was kind of fun in that, except for, it was Sacramento. It was 100 and I think 12 degrees. I'm dressed
was
as
awful.
Front Man from Squid Game, so I'm in all black, the black mask and the black raincoat. So yeah, I mean it was as nice as it could be inside, considering the heat outside and all the bodies inside. But it was still hot and sweaty at the Sac Anime.
It was like probably it was the beginning of the heat wave, so it probably wasn't that great.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
what's funny is that this has actually been the hottest week this summer. The summer's been actually relatively tame,
That's what I was
especially
saying.
compared to other summers. Like last summer, it was like awful,
Right. Although we've had some,
and it never ended.
we've had some really high, it stayed over 110 for a couple of days this week.
I don't see
So-
how y'all can deal with it. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to sleep
well.
till 6 a.m. because it didn't go below 85 until about that time. It was awful.
Yeah, dude, when you can't even step outside and nature have cool things off. there's just no escaping it anywhere. So, all right, guys. Our fabulous director is off at a show tonight. She's seeing the cast of Whose Line Is It Anyways, which they're in Vacaville tonight.
So jealous.
And yeah, two of them are not X, but we're both in Star Wars. So I'm hoping she gets some autographs for the Kyber Cave.
Very
tonight.
cool.
So that would be a lot of fun. I hope you are having fun, Marissa. I did not see both of our topics up here, so we were talking about it tonight. I only saw one of the banners. So, although Marissa says she made both of them, it's probably there. And I'm an idiot. But we are going to start with. I'm going to let Mr. Aaron tell us about this one.
Okay, so
since I don't have a
first
card for
topic.
it.
So first topic of the night is going to be the subject of race/gender swapping in fiction. More to the point, we've seen, just as an example in the past few years, let's take Iris, for example. Iris was race swapped for the CW Flash. It was a good decision. Her actress is
Absolutely.
great. But that is just kind of an example of what we're going to be talking about. I know there was Anthony knows this one. There was some controversy over the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power.
I know this one too. I know all
and-
about that.
All right, well, Aubrey, why don't you get us started with that one?
So there's been mass discussions online, a lot of my Lord of the Rings forums about whether there should be elves and hobbits that have dark skin. and whether it is explicitly in Tolkien's writings.
Okay. What are your thoughts on it?
Whether fictional characters should have dark skin.
Right.
Yeah.
Well-
My thoughts are that the Harfoots do have browner. They say that they do have their darker in skin tone. I don't give a shit.
There
Don't-
you-
Don't care. Don't care if it adds something. I mean, if you're gonna put the work into it, like great, but like it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. It's not if they are all part of the same culture and it doesn't. There's no ramifications culturally. Like
Yeah,
So-
it was never stated in the
I
books
care
that
not.
there wasn't. You know what I mean? So I mean,
absolutely.
I don't.
Actually, there
I don't see the
is.
harm.
Actually, Tolkien does talk about how elves come in various colors and sizes. Yavanna is of dark skin and has dark hair, or she's got olive skin light, but she's also part of the oh my god, the Vala, which is basically the gods. So, and elves come in different colors, and
So
I-
it doesn't really matter.
my thought
So do men.
process was I don't think it changes the story at all. We're talking about, again, a fictional thing, and it happens
Fictional world.
all the time. A great example is Willy Wonka. If you read Robert Dahl or Dahl's the
Roald
original
Dahl's.
book,
Yeah,
the Oompa Loompas
Roald
are
Dahl.
little black men. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they
changed
do,
them to orange guys for the movie, obviously, because
Because it looked racist as shit. Like
probably because it was racist as shit. But they had the sense enough to change it for the movie, and not keep it the way
Okay.
it was in the book.
So I will say that what I've seen from other videos that talk more about like the lore is the part where people are getting really kind of irked because they're fucking up the timelines of it a lot. They're moving
That
it
is
around.
That's more of a valid criticism, I think.
Yeah, and it's talking a lot about like how it's changing too much, or it's using like a very small excerpt from some like other piece of it. My thing with the race swapping that commentary is that it would be great if we saw it done in a world building way. That yes, these people from this region, when you see that matches like together as more of a community, because otherwise, what you're doing is just basically saying, well, we need to make this mythical world that was really built out of like European mythology as far as like his inspirations look and reflect like modern day America, which is a melting pot, versus other regions of the world that we don't necessarily see it quite like that. So it's a little bit of an overstep to some extent, but at the same time, yeah, what the fuck does it matter? If race is the issue for you, why you don't like a character, then you might be a racist. The other one that recently came out was The Sandman, which I know somebody had mentioned that like a week ago, and I was like, fuck, are they talking about that? I want to talk about that so bad. And somebody got like, there was a lot of backlash, I guess, in the casting of Death, because she is drawn in the comic books as like ghostly white with black hair, and now it's played by this lovely black actress. But when I watched it, I hadn't seen the source material at all, and watching it, she did fucking awesome. And like nothing seemed out of place with it. Like she had an onk on and everything. So like it, I don't know. So seeing the pictures now, I kind of look at that and go, well, I don't think that changed that character at all. So that's fine. Like that's fine. But what you guys were just talking about with like the new X-Men coming up and swapping Xavier and Charles.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not about that. That's where I think it starts getting problematic. When you take like very specific, well-known characters that have a lot of backstory and then completely change that around just for more representation. I mean, can we stop taking older properties and maybe, make some new ones?
But that happens all the time, right? I mean, think about Domino in Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz playing Domino. That was a complete. I mean, there's many of
And
the
it was
Marvel
remarkable.
characters. Almost all of the.
I wish the white spot
Eternals.
would be
The
more
Eternals
prominent.
were both gender swapped and all kinds
Yeah,
of
but
swapping.
that didn't add anything to them. That movie didn't do well overall, and it's barely gotten any kind of glimpse of recognition from anything else in that universe.
Yeah,
and there's a
that's
giant
true.
fucking marble statue sticking out of there. Like, yeah.
But
Yeah.
and I cannot for the life of me picture anybody else playing Nick Fury other than Sam Jackson. I can't. Not anymore. I really can't.
Well, it's hard to
Sam Jackson
imagine
is
anyone but Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man
true.
now.
know.
But I mean, he seems so perfect.
I think it's really funny how a lot of this works and then a lot of it doesn't. We talk about Nick Fury, we talk about Samuel L. Jackson playing Nick Fury and how perfect it is. Although historically in the comic books, Nick was originally drawn as a white guy. But then
Just
when
like Snake Plissken.
right, yeah. But then when we get to X-Men, we get to Xavier and Magneto. They're talking Giancarlo Esposito being Xavier and Denzel Washington being Magneto, and it's literally blown up. If you're on Facebook following some of the comics pages or the Marvel pages or the X-Men pages, there are so many arguments that just get started over, why should this be a thing? Why should this not be a thing? It's been thrown out there that many believe that Xavier and Magneto were originally back in 1959 based upon MLK and Malcolm X, which hundreds, maybe thousands of people have flooded to debunk, saying, "Oh no! Jack Kirby and Stanley have in interviews stated that this was not the case. That it's just happenstance that they are, there's that connection, but they were never in mind in the creation of Xavier and Magneto." It's interesting because X-Men from 1960 to I think 1972 was probably one of the most political and controversial comic books on the newsstands.
Right.
So
that was its popularity. Hey, really quick, to Say Wong, I agree with Say Wong. Tom Cruise could have pulled off a Silver Age.
Yeah, he could have.
Nick
He could have.
Fury.
He could
as
have.
Yeah, I
well.
agree with this.
All right, go ahead.
To Anthony's point earlier, we also have to consider the history, though. What is Nick Fury's history? Nick Fury's history is that he's the commander of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's Nick Fury's history. I think when you deal with a character like Magneto, there's a reason why he is the way he is. He is a survivor of the Holocaust. He's Jewish. I mean, that's like a major thing. But a lot of folks are claiming, well, they need to change the background and make it the whole multiverse thing.
Well, okay, so let me add into this. It wasn't just Jews that were killed in the Holocaust.
Correct.
So if they still had it to where he was a person of color during the Holocaust that was also killed because he was somebody who looked different, I don't think that background.
But see, I hadn't heard.
Right,
I didn't hear about. I didn't hear about a multiverse or that. What I had heard was that they were updating it to make it more to make it make more sense, because they were saying, obviously if it was the Holocaust, these characters would be way too old.
Correct.
Right now.
Sure.
So and because they were talking about updating it with who was it? Denzel Washington and
Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito. They were talking about, I heard, using the Rwandan genocide that occurred in the 90s as the updated version of what the Holocaust was to Magneto. And I actually think it's a fantastic solution, because they're not saying it's exactly the same, and it's not taking shade away from that original story. It's just updating it and make it more.
Or is it another person that has metal bending abilities that takes on the mantle of Magneto? That's what I'm trying to say. Why not just make it a next generation thing and have all new mutants and have a whole new storyline that has current day political things, and not just be, well, let's just take an old character and then repackage it as this now, because that's the easy way out. You can make a badass new character and have Denzel Washington play him.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
they did that with Star Trek all the time. So
Mhm.
Well, exactly.
it's perfectly viable.
Exactly.
Perfectly
Which was
viable. I
another
mean,
really
I don't.
progressive show.
I don't. Well, yeah, it's like the progressive show. But Don, we don't have to. No, you did not just do that on Star Trek.
What?
You did
Um,
not just go psh about Star Trek. I heard
Oh,
someone scoff.
I'm not a huge fan of it or anything, but I still appreciate what it is. And the fun fact: did you know that Lucille Ball's a major reason why we even got to begin with?
No, I had no idea, Anthony. Please tell me more.
You can tell I saw a meme, huh?
yeah. Greed 767 says revamps are getting old.
And that's just it. Revamps are fucking old news at this point, and that
I
if the only way you can get us to see your new entity is to race swap things to make it more modern, like, oh, cool.
But
We
what
get
do you
this
think?
again.
Okay, but with having so many iterations of X-Men out there already, and of course Marvel wanting to include them into the MCU, what do you think that they could do to it? I mean, how else could they tell this story that you haven't seen 100 times already?
You make it current to the comics, because right now, today, there are several X-Men teams, and there are X-Men teams that are this generation. There are X-Men
Yeah.
that I have not even seen yet. So
Mhm.
make it about them, because
Yeah.
if they run with the original, Cyclops would be like 80.
yeah.
He would be freaking 80. He was 17 years old in 1959.
Well,
My
this
math
is
is
why
off, I know. But
they're like I said, they're updating it to more modern,
Well, then
so
have
that they
Storm
can.
be the one in charge of the Xavier Institute because he's dead.
you know, I
And
thought the
she's
concept of
the
an
new
old man
matriarch
Logan.
of the whole institute, like that.
Yeah.
We,
like
we can
that
write a
is
script right here tonight that will be better than whatever the fuck they are going to produce. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Probably, and you know,
Ooh.
and
I just
Logan.
watched the Universe of Madness. So oof.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh God, what a
Multiverse of
terrible,
Madness.
what a terrible movie.
Oh,
I'm still
really?
telling you,
I'm
if
not
you
gonna
haven't
ruin
seen
it for
everything-
anybody. It's so bad.
if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, it's such a far better multiverse movie than
Oh,
the
good.
Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, sorry. It's not a multiverse movie, but I did just stumble across this really fun show on Netflix that's a lot about philosophy,
Mm.
but it's
Mhm.
also like an LGBTQ one. Like it's one from Spain or it's set in Barcelona, and it's about a young boy who's like struggling with his sexuality, and he's going to university. But the majority of the entire thing is about his friends, and them going to this school for philosophy. And it really has like different segments that really go into like ethics and morals. Like one of the like big teachers in it, that's a main character, comes out and like the first thing she says is, "Oh, something about mongoloids and this and that," and it's like a very offensive joke, and then brings it back to, okay, so that's something I used to tell 22 years ago that would have people laughing, and today, not so much.
Which
Right.
is why Spaceballs 2 will never be a thing.
Well, yes, I mean, there's a thing where understanding
Or
and
history of the world
knowledge
part.
change our morality and our codes of what's acceptable. And
Well,
then
that'll
within
shoot.
2 scenes, you come to see her with her daughter, who is born with Down syndrome. So there's like an extra layer of like that meta commentary that she's not just going out there and saying something offensive because she's a bitch. Her child is also someone who's on the spectrum, and it's a big part of her character arc and development. But it's really fascinating. The whole thing with the X-Men, MLK, and
Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Thank you, Malcolm X. They had very different philosophies on how to achieve the same goal,
They did.
and that is very much something I feel like they could have pulled from as far as the philosophical aspect of it. Do you do it with violence? Do you do it with passiveness? How do we achieve this goal in the best possible way?
Definitely
I
full of
think-
controversy. Definitely.
I think it's especially tough with X-Men because so many different groups of people have come to take X-Men on as kind of like their symbol. I was told, in the gay community, Wanda is a big character, or a lot of people love Wanda. There's the Jewish community, obviously Magneto in that whole story. there's been so many different groups of outsiders or people that had been seen as outsiders that kind of hold a lot of love for X-Men. So I think they're going to have a tough time embodying it no matter what they do. But I'm surprised for us. I mean, I know on a personal level, Cyclops is one of your boy. So
Cyclops
I'm
is my
surprised.
favorite Marvel character of all time. Period.
Oh, so yeah, I'm surprised you would want to give up seeing Cyclops in the MCU for favorable brand.
Cyclops has family. Cyclops has family, and by aging these characters, we can have descendants. We can have X-23. We can have young Rachel Summers. I'm fine with all of that. I can work with having Storm's nephew be in here in the mix. Like, you know,
he was in the cartoon reboot too, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Right.
I think his name was Evan.
Yes.
So, you know, seeing okay, how about a grown-up leading Jubilee? Jubilee is one of the most underrated characters. She's not a mall rat anymore. She's a grown-up, sophisticated woman, and she should be leading. I like Jubilee. I think she's cool.
Or Rogue. I always liked Rogue. She was somebody who became a leader of the X-Men at some point too, and also just terribly done up until now. Like Anna Paquin, no offense to her, but that was not Rogue.
Rogue was. I'm sorry, but Rogue to me will always have that Southern country twang, y'all.
She was a powerhouse. She was a whole firecracker in a bottle, and that was never given to us in any iteration.
No, Anna Paquin would have been great as Rogue. I don't think I had a problem with Anna Paquin at all. I don't think I had anything to do with her acting ability. Oh God, it was the writing. The writing was
that too.
So
the direction and the writing, like they did absolutely nothing with her. She was basically a potted plant, which gave Anna Paquin nothing to do, which is terrible.
So So I think depending upon the stories of certain characters, we can all agree that a race swap does or does not fit. But
I think it's just lazy.
It can be. But how do we feel about gender swapping? And
it's also lazy.
The very first thing I think of when it comes to gender swapping, I'm not even kidding you, is Master Mold. I know that sounds weird, but Master Mold is the Master Sentinel. Master Mold is the great big huge sentinel that creates all the other little sentinels that fight all the mutants. Master Mold, in a couple iterations, has been gender swapped to create more of a motherly presence. Master Mold is just a ginormous freaking sentinel. But later on, Master Mold was designed as a female. So it would be the mother of all sentinels.
Doesn't that make more sense though?
Yeah, absolutely. How about okay, we're talking Star Trek, right? How about the Borg Queen? That was a big thing. But the Borg Queen was highly accepted. You know, people thought of the Borg kind of like a hive of bees, you know, and you've got the Queen, and she was there, and I thought that was a great idea. I loved the Borg Queen. I liked the female Master Mold. I thought that worked. Can you guys think of any other situations where
I'm not really understanding? Real quick, I'm not understanding why you think that the Borg Queen was something that was gender swapped. I'm confused by this.
Well, so looking back on Star Trek history, when again I was really young at the time, but when Generations was coming out and all they had were magazines, it was going to be they were going to indicate that there's going to be a Borg Master. And everybody at the time was thinking, oh man, it's going to be a Borg General or a Borg King or something like that. And then when the movie came out, many people were surprised that it was a Borg Queen. They were pleasantly surprised. There was no controversy over it. But
you
again,
mean First Contact?
Is that what it was? First Contact? Not Generations. Generations had the other thing. BK, the Borg are misunderstood.
Oh no, it's the Borgs. Oh my gosh. So is Desulu your captain too? I mean, your boss? Just saying. You good boss? Anyways, yeah. So
Picard's my captain.
that's a joke.
Oh, well,
Never mind. Never mind.
okay.
Anyways,
Sorry.
it's a joke. It's fine. Just because he said the Borgs, so I'm thinking of the Greatest Generation.
Gotcha.
Anyways, so yes, please keep going and tell me how Generations has the Borgs.
No. And
We're
thank you for
talking about
correcting
gender
me.
swapping.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought of First Contact.
If
Or,
it works or if it doesn't
Generations.
work.
Oh, I thought
Right,
Generations.
right.
I feel
But
like
again,
there are plenty of iterations of things where we've gender swapped that it does seem kind of just lazy writing to make a more powerful woman character. We saw it recently with Love and Thunder. There's female Thor. We have after
Oh, it wasn't a
Stark
gender
died,
swap.
there's now like
That
a
had
young
some
girl
stories,
who's
man.
doing Iron Man. We have Batwoman. We have
Hawkeye.
These
well,
are
yeah.
gender
It's one of those things of you're it's meant to be about this one character, but now we've just done this because we can, instead of just again making a new character with new things. And why do we have to keep reiterating the old and just have someone take on that mantle just because they don't end up becoming interesting characters to watch. It's another Mary Sue that gets everything done without any effort. It's not giving us what the old stories used to give, which is this like perseverance and overcoming the things. And there was plenty of strong female characters back then too. It'd be kind of like if you gender swapped Mystique from X-Men to be a man, like
Morph.
literally someone who can shapeshift already. So
Thank you,
it makes
Morph.
sense.
Yes,
But I feel like a lot of
Morph
people
already.
that's kind of
who's
a weird
fantastic.
swap.
Right, they're different characters.
Sorry,
Right?
Tara.
They're different characters with their
There we
own
go. There you go.
with their own stories. All right, guys, you guys are so distracting. All right,
Sorry. Okay, so what I
Sorry.
meant, so what I'm trying to get at here is I'm talking about existing characters. So yeah, we do have a new Hawkeye, but we have one Hawkeye passing down to another one. I'm talking about like what was just said concerning Mystique. Like, what if Mystique were originally a guy and they gender swapped it to a woman or a woman to a man? You know, like in what cases have we seen in the last 20 or so years where that in a comic or in a story or in an older movie, we've seen a character as a female and now they're a male, or they were a male and now they're a female, but they're the exact same character.
well, the Eternals,
Yeah,
there
'cause
was
that-
a few
that
was
swaps,
new.
but nobody gives a shit about the Eternals. And I don't even know which ones were, but I do know that was a point of controversy when that movie came out. Is there anything else with there's been a gender
I'm
swap?
trying to think with the gender swaps. I had a couple. Yeah, they had Morph, which was amazing, but that's something completely different, not Mystique. The whole thing with the Borg, the reason why it wasn't really a gender swap, it was just a reveal, was because they previously had not mentioned that there was a Borg queen previously. It was never talked about. The only time you ever saw a representation was either you had Hugh, you had Locutus, and you also had Locutus and Borg, and then you also had basically Laura going and fucking up with with Hugh, who was leading a resistance against the Borg, against the hive mind of the Borg. So it wasn't necessarily that there was never a queen or there was never a leader. They just never talked about it up until the first contact. So that's why I wouldn't exactly classify that as a gender swap. Also, there's also a Batwoman that has been around since like the 90s. There's
Yeah,
also
Batwoman's
Batgirl.
always been a thing. Batgirl.
Yeah, she's also been a lipstick.
Well, and the Batgirl movie just got canceled, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was.
I mean, it would have
because-
been awesome if I could see Cassandra Cain like kicking ass as like Batwoman.
Well, so it was that one, and there was another project that they just canceled too. I can't remember what it was, but they basically had these movies practically done. And the thing is that they were seeing that the stuff that they've been producing lately that does kind of go into like the woke progressive agenda wasn't working very well for them. And they did do a race swap on Batgirl. I believe she was Latina or African American in this one. And they're just like, it's not working. It's not getting back the revenue. The fans aren't falling for this as much as we thought that they were going to. And again, it kind of comes back to a certain message that gets pushed a lot in the narratives these days that's becoming very tired and stale. And that's why we need to stop remaking things and start making new things.
Or we could just write better characters. We don't make that their entire identity.
But these movies are, though. That's what they're doing. I mean, like right now, She-Hulk is getting a huge backlash off of that first episode and its diatribe, because that whole speech is great in theory when you hear it on its own. But when you look at the character, she's a selfish, fucking entitled bitch who can't control her shit. So it's kind of weird that she's, talking down to this other character. I handle anger better than you do. When 2 scenes ago, you literally didn't.
Right.
I
She-Hulk
don't have
is
context
getting-
for that because I haven't watched it, so I
She-Hulk
can't.
is getting a lot of that backlash, and I've been trying very much to give it as much of an open mind
Good
as
old
I
college
can.
try, yeah.
Right, because I don't really feel like every story necessarily has to be written directly at me for me to enjoy it, or to enjoy its bigger context in the whole Marvel universe. She-Hulk is okay. I don't, I think, if it came out with another season and it tried to be, if it stayed in its lane and knew exactly, it's trying to be a funnier show and the writing got better, I might stick with it. But I'm not going to not watch it just because it's a female version of the whole.
No, and the She-Hulk
So
character as a whole is a great character. Like the comics have a lot of great content there.
Right.
I'm just really hoping that it's setting it up for a really good character arc where we see a growth. I don't want it to just be another cut and paste carbon copy of the last 5 shows that have come out, or the last 3 movies that have come out. It sucks when you go to a movie and you already know what's going to happen because it's the same rinse and repeat formula.
Right.
Aubrey, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, so about 5 years ago, I think they had this SNL skit where it was Scarlett Johansson, and it was like the Black Widow finally gets her own movie, and it's basically like a sitcom style, like Sex and the City, of like, oh, she's this new lawyer that is trying to like fit in, and then she gets these powers. She's really, dun 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 dun, Black Widow, but it's all these like, it's quirky, it's like bullshit, basically.
Right.
It's just terribly written diatribe that really doesn't have any meaning because it's being written for women and it's men writing women and it's lame.
Are you saying Sex and the City was terrible?
No, I'm not. I'm saying that the idea that people want to fit characters into a box of what they think should be represented instead of just telling a genuine story.
Yeah.
And taking away why people relate to these characters, that's a problem for me personally. That's what I mean. Do not write women as potted plants or sex objects. It's just not going to work. You need to write women as you would a man and write them as full people.
Oh God, you would love the story I'm working on. Shoot.
BK
I
is
have nothing but strong badass characters in it. Like there's one that's definitely a fan service one, but she gives no fucks and will cut your dick off.
It sounds like Ellie from The Last of Us.
Hey,
Yeah.
actually a little bit like that.
Sorry, I've been playing that game night and day for the past week.
No, my main character's like 5'2", very rambunctious, and I noticed after like doing some really deep inner reflective thought about like where I'm getting these characters from, I'm like, wow, they're all horribly traumatized. Like, do I need therapy? I might. I probably do. Like,
what good writing is.
Horrible backstories, but it's what makes these characters like have drive and motivation, and I am trying to be a bit more inclusive in even how I'm designing some of my characters and writing them. Because one of the main ones is missing his left arm.
Wow.
The other one, is going to a psychiatrist because the academy that she's in thinks that she's crazy. She sees this mysterious figure that nobody else can, and he's basically like the Mad Hatter from hell. Just makes you hallucinate and shit. Anywho, enough about me and stories that haven't been made before.
Getting back on topic a little bit. BK had asked if anyone had seen any of the new Disney Obi-Wan behind the scenes stuff yet. I actually did watch that, but something that I wanted to say, how that kind of tied into our topic tonight, when I was watching the Obi-Wan behind the scenes. Not going to give too much away for people that haven't seen it, but they were
No, it's
talking.
been long enough. Go ahead and spoil it. They've
It,
had
it
time.
literally just didn't it just come out yesterday?
What, Obi-Wan?
No. The Obi-Wan behind the scenes. The documentary
Sorry.
on the behind the scenes of Obi-Wan. Anyways, one of the things that they were saying, he was talking about, which I did note myself, was how leading up to the release of Obi-Wan, there was so much of this assumption that it was going to be a story about Obi-Wan and young Luke. And it wasn't until you get to the show that it's actually a story about Obi-Wan and young Leia.
Which was beautifully done.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic, but I think there was a lot of people that were kind of upset about the story being about young Leia. They thought again that it was going to be about young Luke. So that I think it kind of goes.
The first lines she says is something about like, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope," meaning that they had a past relationship. Wait, I don't know. I never felt like Luke had a close relationship with old Ben out there in the desert. He just knew about him.
Right. Vader's
Now-
vault was shown in one of the scenes. Oh,
From a Comic-Con. Huh, I never knew about
for,
that.
for Obi-Wan.
Oh.
I didn't.
So here's a
Oh,
gender swapped
yeah.
character that I'd like to talk about.
Mhm.
So has anyone here seen Elementary?
Yes.
No.
It's
So
a
Lucy
foreign
Liu-
film, right?
No, it's a series. It's a Sherlock.
Oh,
it's
never mind.
an
I was thinking
American-made
of
Sherlock
Elementary.
series.
Excuse me. Sorry.
No, Elementary has instead of John Watson, it's Joan Watson. And when I went into that show, I was a little skeptical about it, and then I started watching it. And I actually really liked it. They even had a gender swap Moriarty in there, and because of the way they make the characters, it's actually fascinating. It's really interesting to watch. To me, I actually found it to be really interesting the way that things go with the stories. And
Yeah, I'm
it's
not familiar with
kind
the
of
show.
a cool new take of the show. Sherlock is still male, but Joan Watson and Moriarty are female, and it's
Okay.
really, really interesting where they take the story.
Now here's one.
because of
Here's
that. So that's an interesting gender swap that I'll say. And Lucy Liu plays the character Joan Watson, which is fantastic
that's pretty.
because Lucy Liu is a queen.
Here's one that I can't believe we missed, but we did. How many of y'all have seen Titans?
Titans.
Titans on
Teen
HBO
Titans?
Max. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
No,
y'all haven't
I
seen
have not.
Titans. Alan or Anthony, you haven't seen Titans?
I don't have HBO Max.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so if it's the DC characters, if you know Hawk and Dove was gender swapped for the show because Hawk and Dove originally were male characters, and Dove in the show is actually a female character. But
That's
it
right.
works. It works so much better. It really does.
Because there are a
also
couple in
the
that
DC
show, right?
Say that again, Aubrey.
Say it again. Also in Jessica Jones, the lawyer who Kate, what's her name? Trinity. I can only think of her as Trinity, who's
I know.
I can only think of her as that way. But originally, her character was also male originally, and they gender swapped her character, and it actually works fantastically well.
Yes, and I love out of all four of those shows that came out of the Defenders, Jessica Jones was actually my favorite show.
Though I do love Daredevil. I love me some
Daredevil
great
was
Daredevil.
good.
He's great.
Daredevil was good, but
And the
Jessica Jones
Punisher is
had my-
fantastic as well. But that's only because the guy that they got for Punisher is actually, like, I swear, born to play that character.
He was a
so.
good fit. He was a really good fit.
The
really
only
good
other
fit.
one I can think of, sort of, is the alternate Batman universe where like Bruce dies and Thomas and Martha.
Flashpoint.
Yeah,
Flashpoint.
they become
Really
the Batman
great.
and Joker.
Yeah, Martha Wayne
That
becomes
was
Joker.
an interesting take
Really
on
interesting.
in a completely different direction.
I think the only time when you have an issue with gender swapped is when they don't do their homework and they're like, we're just going to slot this in and not think about any of the ramifications of that. Like, how did this person get here? What was that? They're just looking at, we're just going to gender swap it for reasons.
Well, but you
And
also
not
don't
change
see too
anything
many
else.
instances of the opposite, right? I can't think of a character that was a woman that then they made a man.
Yeah,
That's what I was looking for. I can't think.
and
of
I can't find any of that either. I really can't. Most of the swaps that I've seen, just being an anime
Oh.
fan and a comic fan, have always had to do with voice acting, which is why I brought up Master Mold, or even like, you know, if, for you hardcore anime fans, even Pokemon, like Mewtwo was gender swapped. You know,
There-
Mewtwo started as a guy voice, and then in later movies, it's a female voice. So
I actually could think of one, but it's in literary.
go ahead.
Midnight Sun from Twilight. I'm sad that I know this.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, but the Twilight series is terrible. I'm sorry. No. I
No
don't
glittering
care about
vampires for you.
dollars.
Pretty bad,
If
but
anything, it's because Twilight is successful that gives me like faith that I can actually publish a book and maybe make my own $1 billion. Like,
I mean, I'm writing a
Yeah.
series, so I understand, Anthony. I've been working on a series forever, so I get it. But there's also, there's also differences between like when they adapt movies to make them into, or to adapt books to make them into movies. For instance, they change like motivations. Like for instance, instead of in Interview with the Vampire, Louis losing his brother in the book, it was his wife and child, but that never happened. He never had a wife and child in the book. So they gender swapped that, I guess. It's because they had the case of the not gays.
Probably
I don't
more
know.
to be the more something more that people could relate to more, like what would drive you to that. Because I don't know. I think if you just lost your brother, the prospect of still having a family with somebody else, is it a little bit easier to overcome than like losing your family entirely otherwise? But it also didn't seem to play much more of a role other than it's set up for depression, right?
Right, exactly. And
So-
then, well, Louis didn't. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, it was fine for like the setup of what they had for it, but it was just interesting.
I still love that movie. It's one of
So
my
do
favorites
I. I
of
think
all
it's
time.
fantastic. Tom Cruise was like born for that role.
Yes, it's the only time he
Um,
got to actually be himself.
I know for Everything Everywhere All at Once, originally that the main Michelle Yeoh, her character was written for Jackie Chan, but he wasn't available, so they rewrote the character for Michelle Yeoh. So that was one of the characters that went from male to female, although it was a completely different character. So I don't know if that really counts in that.
Now I think they knew a concept of like, well, we just need someone who can do all this action shit. Okay.
I
Right.
don't know about that. Oh, that's terrible.
Right. Yeah, I don't gender as much. I don't know. We were talking about earlier before the show too. We were talking about Namor. Does that bother some people? I know Philippe over at Distance Nerding, being a Latin guy, was saying that he loved the idea of Namor becoming kind of, what is he, like an Aztec warrior now, or
Who?
Namor
sorry,
for the new
I'm
Black
The
Panther
Aquaman of the other universe.
of the Marvel universe.
Marvel.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be introduced
I don't
in
know.
Black Panther 2 as kind of the bad guy in Black Panther 2, but then, I guess he's going to turn into a good guy, eventually, because he's one of the first mutants.
Why did I always think he was actually Asian in the comic books? Am I tripping?
He has kind of an Asianist look, but he's as Atlantean, I believe, right? Or-
Okay, so they were going for something that was, ambiguous, essentially.
Right.
There are. Didn't they make Black Mask a white guy when he's originally an Asian guy in one of the Batman movies?
The Batman games, for sure. They just make him another, like, hardcore thug gangster.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's for Arkham Asylum, which kind of irritated the fuck out of me.
Mm.
Sorry, I mean the piss out of me. That's
Yeah.
not much better.
I don't know.
I know. Oh, they talked about the Mandarin in the Ten Rings. That was another place where you saw
The Mandarin, yeah, they changed
cultural
the
shifts and
cultural
changes
shift.
on that one, and particularly because when they were doing the Shang-Chi comic book back in the day. You know, there was I guess his father was Fu Manchu or something like that, which is, you know, an Asian slur now. So they had to make changes so that it wasn't quite so slurry.
Can you imagine them trying to do Big Trouble Little China? And they were like, oh, no, we got this Chinese man that's Fu Manchu. Oh, no, we can't do that. So we're going to culturally shift it.
Right. There's a lot of movies you can never remake in these. Anything by Mel Brooks.
Yeah, which is a shame because he's actually really fucking funny.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And his stuff has context. Like, it actually has, like, a lot of
People are people of the earth, you know,
right?
Idiots.
Blazing Saddles, man. Just
You're saying we're never gonna get our episode of Jews in Space?
no, we're not going to have Hitler on ice. Just so you know, I wish we had Hitler on ice. That'd be great.
Hitler on ice.
Oh yeah, good time.
Great time for Hitler and Germany.
Oh yes, winter for Poland and France. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Do we got any more on this? We're trying to
I
stall
think
it out.
we seem to be tapping out on it because
We're tapping out.
We're done.
It's getting it's like all right, whatever.
Do we want to switch over to the new one before Dave gets here, or Dave always gets so upset when he doesn't get to do the transitions?
He's not here for that segue. The segue. Problem is I don't know which one we went with, so I can't really segue.
It is about the toxic things that we eat because
it is about fast food. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are talking about U.S. food. Oops, wrong one. Sorry, that's not food.
Hey kids, be sure to eat your lightsabers today.
Man, why is it always you and like phallic things?
You know, everything in a saber shop is phallic things. Everything.
Most of the best things are phallic things.
We're just gonna eat this. It's fine.
All right, we are talking about
dicks.
food in the United States. Fast food, convenient food, foods that get us fat, foods that are mislabeled, foods that have us think that they're healthy but they're not. What are your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going first?
That's it. Matt said that's a different kind of burrito.
That's because who is on first?
I mean, I can go. Okay.
What's on
me
second?
talk never. So, if anything on this, what is interesting is I've seen a lot of videos from like people in Europe being like, "Oh my god, why can't I get this here?" Because they'll try like one of our Hidden Valley ranches or this particular kind of chip, and it's like it's because everything in the U.S. is fucking poison. Like you go to these other countries, their food's made like actually from the stuff it's supposed to be. Not a bunch of preservatives, not with a bunch of chemicals and alterations. Like the bread that we make here is terrible. The produce that we have is full of the GMOs and pesticides and God knows what else. Our meat, they're just carving the tumors out of it. Like we don't really take a lot of pride or care into what we are actually putting out there for people to eat. And then again, the readily available things that you can get cheaply and quickly whenever you want are all in these drive-through features. And it's all nutrient deficient, terrible stuff. Like
they talk about the amount of food. They call them food deserts here in the United States. But it's basically meaning the only food you can get are like chips and junk food from convenience stores, as opposed to things healthily that you can buy at a
because you can
grocery
get those
store.
things for like $1 versus the salad down the street, even at Jack in the Box. Oh, that's $10.88. That like a salad is more. It's like how water is more expensive than soda, but it takes way more water than what's in the water bottle to make that soda.
Right.
Yep.
So they want us sick. They want us to have health issues because the healthcare system here is terrible. And one of the best ways to do that is to make it so you can't have a good meal easily unless you're very wealthy.
I had heard. Well, not I had heard. My educational background is in early childhood development, and they were saying that in the United States, if you buy Gerber's baby food, right, which is the common baby, everybody knows Gerber's with the chubby little fat baby or whatever. Everybody knows Gerber's, right? But that food is up to 50% sugar. And they were saying that if you have a baby born in the United States, there is a very good chance that your child will never have known life without sugar.
Oh, sugar's in everything here.
Oh,
Everything.
It's in everything. That's and cheese. Like that. Those are the comments from people around the world. Like, why do you guys put cheese on literally everything?
Right.
Like, think about it. Cheese is on everything.
But
And
you
then,
know what's
yeah,
you know what's interesting? These things that we tend to look at as like people have special addictions, right? Because everybody knows somebody that loves cheese. Then there's like bacon, right? But these are all industries that milk is another one. These are all industries that have pushed and have lobbyists in Washington D.C. that get their food added into so many of the different food charts and things like that. And that's why we have a craving for bacon. It's not that we love bacon so much; it's that it had been pushed into every industry and every other type of food by the ham industry.
Yeah, there are studies that show that actually eating meat not only is a level 1 carcinogen in other countries, but that it actually is a leading factor in diabetes. But yet you have it on the Diabetes Heart Association that's what's healthy for you, when studies have shown the exact opposite.
Right. Diabetes is a whole different. We could spend.
But that's literally a factor on it. But I'm just saying, as part of the food, I'm a vegan, so I'm vegan and I'm gluten free. So I have to cook a lot of my own stuff, and I actually have to look at nutrition a lot.
Right.
So,
but I think even as a vegetarian, I think you would be pretty hard pressed.
Vegan and vegetarian are very different.
Very, 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 very.
No, I understand that they're different. I'm not saying that the people are the same, but I said even as a vegetarian, I think people have a very difficult time going to just about a majority of the restaurants or any of the fast food places and finding options that are available for them. I think as a vegan, you're damn near can't find any options.
No, because you have to be careful even just about things being not even just cheese. Well, yes, there is this weird misunderstanding. Like, hey, like no cheese, and people like put cheese in there. Like, oh, we'll just pick it out. It's like, no, dude, I actually have an allergy to this. Please do not put that in there. But not even just that. It's also just this, like, that they won't even think about, like, the oils that get, if you're gonna
mix together.
Yeah, they mix them together. It's like, no, you're still basically eating meat. Like, I've had people who are like, oh, I'm vegan, and they go and eat fries that basically got soaked in beef oil and then fried with everything else.
That was a big issue with McDonald's back in the day.
I know. That's why I'm bringing it up.
They had to change their fry oil as a result of that, which I will say, when they had it with the beef, that shit was so good. So good. I miss the old school ones, but I'm somebody who could probably never be full vegan if I tried. I'm
not going to recommend you. If you want to eat meat, go do that.
Well, it's not that I want to eat a lot of meat, or I actually really encourage people to have more fruits and vegetables. I think that those are better things for you to process. But like little bits of protein here and there are great in that too. But it's you don't see a lot of dishes that are centered around a vegetarian or a vegan mindset that are really good. Like
not in America, at least. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. We don't see enough of it in our restaurants to be like, oh man, this is so good. Like, I don't even want that filet mignon. This perfectly cooked eggplant is much, much better. And eggplant's one of those things that it's either fucking amazing or it's the slimiest, grossest thing in the world.
I will agree.
I think it is a travesty that we don't have a single like healthy type of fast food-ish thing to get. Something that you can go and get things that are hearty, good for you meals, and have the option of, do you want that with this meat, or do you want something that's not that, and have like the vegan stuff taste just as good?
Right. Does anyone remember?
I would contend that they would taste just as good, but I think that's partially
I think it depends on who makes it. Vegan cheese is terrible. I'm sorry. I
I
tried
love
that
vegan
once.
cheese. I
Vegan
do love
cheese was
vegan cheese.
terrible. I couldn't. It's something that
You
does
just
not melt.
keep getting the wrong. You just keep getting the wrong kinds. Then
Maybe.
I need
Maybe.
to show you some. There's some. Really
I will
good
say
ones.
some of these
Anyways.
crispy cauliflower bites. They have this English place downtown. Oh, those are bomb. Those are delicious. Those are better than any chicken wing I've ever had.
Really quickly, Say Wong says, anyone remember the old McDonald's apple pie? And also, David, what is up, Daddy-O? Thank you for making
I
it
remember
in.
an apple pie, but do they not have one anymore?
Is it different now?
Is it different? I don't know. I don't know. I haven't had one in like a decade. So
I haven't.
I'd
never
venture to say, if the world ever collapses and everything has been raided out of every grocery store, I'll bet you the vegan aisle's still packed.
well, either that or it's
You know,
kinda like
you know how
I don't
you,
eat.
you know how you eat vegan food. You carefully remove it from the packaging, throw it directly in the garbage, and fry up some bacon.
You're terrible.
Well, I guess we all know where David falls on this
Yeah.
in this topic. Say Wong says the recipe is different. Yeah, no, I don't remember it. Oh, times have changed. So obviously we're talking about food, Dave. We're talking about the USDA, some of the things that they do to our food. Why do they do these things? I personally really think that the pharmaceutical companies, the food companies, the doctors, just like Anthony was saying, they're all conspiring to keep us sick. They want us just healthy enough to keep the economy moving along and to buy more pills, but not healthy enough to
not grow tumors by the time you're 30.
Right, exactly.
Well, I mean, we have been seeing a lot more at people a younger age than, they're dropping dead actually much sooner than a lot of people previously in the past generations.
Fours knows why.
Our life expectancy is completely dropped.
Janina's saying Massini's makes an awesome vegan pizza. And she's not even vegan. All right. David, were you going to say something?
No, it's okay now.
All right. Okay.
Forrest was going to say something.
Yeah, Forrest was going to say something. He said he knew why. So
go ahead.
Why don't you tell us, Forrest?
Yeah, so the problem, and shame on the medical industry for not educating everybody about this stuff. You can't just tell a child, get A's. Just go to school and get A's. That's what you need to do. It's like okay, everybody, eat healthy. Well, healthy has been defined several times over the past, 75 years. And honestly, what's really doing it, it's the synthetic garbage. Everyone, it really just depends upon who you're listening to, but if you really look at the studies, it's your synthetic carbs. That's what it is. If it comes in a bag or a box in the middle of the store, chances are it's not really great for you. And the reason is because synthetic, processed rice, bread made with enriched ingredients all contribute to spikes in inflammation, spikes in insulin.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Spikes.
And, somewhere along the way, years and years and years and years ago, the big pharma and the government and the whole nutritional industry wanted to blame everything on fat. Oh, fat's bad for you. If fat gets into your arteries, it'll solidify and then it'll stop the blood flow, which was complete crap. Mm-hmm. Complete and utter crap. Fat's actually good for you as long as it is a good fat. Another thing that's really, really, really bad. My God, man, stop frying everything. There are literally only 2, maybe 3 oils that are actually good for you. Extra virgin olive oil and avocado oil. And guess what? You're not supposed to heat olive oil at all. So
I would say coconut oil is actually really good too, as well.
Coconut oil is fine.
There are lots of studies that that have shown that. Especially you look at a lot of Asian countries that use coconut oil specifically,
Mhm.
and they're incredibly healthy.
I like
So-
the air fryer. I feel like air frying stuff makes
air
it
frying.
really tasty and crispy, and it doesn't have the oil aspect. So,
So here's the
And
problem
Janine-
with air frying.
I
Well,
want to hear.
we got a comment at the bottom. Janine says that's because we becoming too dependent on everything becoming easy.
Well,
What a
that's
beautiful
because the
quote.
American worker works two, 3 jobs to try to buy a house.
Right.
We're always on the go. We're the only country that doesn't give paid time off from work as a right, or get the maternity leave that they need for both parents. People, they constantly just are grinding their nose against the grindstone because that's the American way. We're always at work. We're overworked. We're underpaid. We can't get by. So yeah, when you only have half an hour for your lunch break, you're going to go to the place that can get you your meal in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
Because going anywhere else, you're going to sit down, wait, and then you're going to be out of time before you even get your food.
Right. And I know particularly when I was working multiple jobs, sometimes that fast food place between your two jobs was the only time you could stop in really quick, grab something in the drive-through and eat while you're driving to your next job. Sometimes
Or-
that was the only time you had to eat in the day.
Yeah, or
I
even-
can't really do that because of my diet restrictions. So either I have to cook, which is what I generally do, or I have to get something that's a little bit that's very like tailored to my stuff, which usually means like I'm usually eating like fruit, or I have to have like vegetables or a salad generally when I'm out and about. But I have certain places that I'm able to do it. But yeah, I agree. I do think that is a true thing. I'm not everybody, so like
And
my mom
that-
was also stupidly into health food when I was a kid. So I actually, we didn't eat fast food on a regular basis, so I had to learn a lot.
Aubrey,
of that.
you made such an unbelievably amazing point. You just said, listen to this. I'm not everybody. Nutrition anymore cannot be classified by everybody. What is
No.
good for you is not necessarily good for
Right.
me. I can sit here all day and say, okay, don't eat these carbs, or don't eat these sugars, or don't eat this and that. We can all agree that if a synthetic rice out of the box is bad for everybody.
Yes,
However,
I would agree.
some people, if you get down to the healthy or the natural or the one ingredient stuff, like, I don't know, chicken has one ingredient, broccoli has one ingredient. If it can be grown,
Mm-hmm.
one ingredient, chicken,
Well-
one.
Well, the problem is that a lot of times when they are raising chickens and feed and livestock in any of these places, right? They're pumping them full of hormones to make them
Hormones.
grow incredibly fast. They're also giving them a lot of times the feed is mixed often with like animals that have already died, and they grind
Correct.
up and they put it in their bone meal. So it's not just one ingredient. You're also raising these animals to be sick, to be horribly overweight, to be pumped full of hormones. That's not living. That's
Are
not
they-
one ingredient. You're also
Are they
putting
are
in
they
all these
grass
other
fed? Are they grain fed?
Right.
Are
These
they
are ones
free
that are.
range?
Thing.
I'm talking about normally the ones that are usually affordable are not ones that they generally have that way.
But you get
That's
but
what
you
I'm
get the you get the idea. It's like you get chicken versus a chicken tender. Back to Anthony's point about the air frying.
Mhm.
Air frying can be a fantastic thing. You go out and you purchase wings, right? You get wings. You can put your wings in the air fryer, and yes, that is a much better way than dropping them into a vat of vegetable oil. However, on the other side of things, if you go out and get Tyson's chicken wings that are breaded, then no, air frying is not going to do you a damn bit of good because it's already been pre-fried and all the crap anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. When we were
I
talking
was
about
just suggesting that Brendan fried foods. That no. I know. What you
Good,
Well,
but
how
there-
about
when we were
there
talking
are
about
people-
nutrition and food, I was just thinking about videos that I've seen of like comparing American school lunches versus like a school lunch in Japan or a school lunch in just about any other country. Our school lunches look miserable.
they
Oh,
don't
they're
hold
awful.
a candle to what
They're
they're getting in other countries. The bento box in Japan is probably one of the healthiest freaking things that a kid can get. It's
agree.
it's incredibly diverse. It's got a nice healthy array of vegetables and meats. Shoot, they even live off sushi over there, which, what are they saying over here? Oh, consumption of raw fish is going to kill you instantly. No, it's
Right.
not. Stop it. It's just knowing what's safe, what isn't, knowing your temperatures. It's doing freaking homework. And again, back to Anthony's point, it's all about the laziness. The
Right.
reason we don't eat well, the reason why we're so freaking fat is because we're so damn lazy. We don't check in to see what's really, really good for us and what isn't. And what sucks about that is that the stuff that really is, listen to me, I'm preaching. The stuff that really is good for us is buried under lies and algorithms.
I agree. No, you're preaching to the choir with me. I agree with you.
There's one more component you might want to take into consideration is the fact that anything that is healthy is twice as expensive as all the crap that isn't healthy.
Yeah.
Going for
Interesting.
you're talking about single ingredient
Mhm.
foods and stuff. How about just simple water? When I went
Oh
to get a
my
water the other
God.
day, I bought a 1 liter, and it was twice as expensive as the same size soda.
Mhm.
I mentioned that earlier, actually, too.
Oh, you
Uh,
did? Okay,
Stephanie
I
did,
missed
yeah.
that one.
And what's crazy is that distilled water will not hurt you. It won't.
It won't.
You can just go ahead and boil yourself a pot of water, let it cool, and it's going to be fine.
I did see something recently about how we want to have our mineral water and not necessarily purified water.
Correct.
Because when you don't have all of those other nutrients in
Mhm.
there, the water will leach it from you. So I've been making sure to find like all natural spring waters if I do buy a bottle of water somewhere. But otherwise, I'm very grateful that my job has a really good filtration system for their water, because everything right now in Lodi, if you go out to a restaurant, it tastes like dirt.
Mm.
You literally taste dirt in the water.
Wow.
Like, I feel like our reservoirs have gotten so low at this point, like we're tasting all the sediment at the bottom. It's fucking gross.
That's weird. It's awful. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Just to add on to your argument, Fours, the problem. I think education is a huge thing, but yeah, I completely agree with you. On as soon as like Anthony started talking about water, my brain I can't remember exactly.
I didn't even think about that, but do you think as our environmental problems get worse, do you think we are going to see more health issues, like more of this fast, convenient food, or less of it? Do you think we're going to have to go back to natural?
That I remember my point. So, Boris, you're talking about the Japanese bento boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've actually seen how the West has influenced Japan. So now, actually, because before the Americans came to Japan, they actually had mostly vegetables, rice, a little bit of fish, and almost no meat. Right? Extremely healthy people. You look at now with the influence of the West. There's more meat, more more fats, like not good fats, bad fats.
Trans fats.
In our diet, like trans fats. In the
Saturated
diet, saturated fats, trans fats, yeah. In the diet, and actually there's a lot more cases of obesity now. Now people having an obsession with like beef, for instance, because that's not actually traditionally an Japanese thing. That came in with the American influence. You're seeing people dying more of like heart attacks, and obesity rates are rising, and all of those things, which just add to the point of all of the how meat, especially in red meats, are not necessarily good for you, especially in the portion that we are eating it.
Specifically in Okinawa, the life expectancy. Okinawa used to have one of the longest life expectancies on the planet,
And healthy
and they've
life
seen with the introduction of Western foods, specifically fast foods and things like that, they've seen their life expectancy in their area drop by more than 20 years.
Yep.
Well, so fun fact, I mean, partly why Japan grew with that kind of dietary norm is a lot to do with their landscape. I mean, Japan's like smaller than California, and only like 2/3 of it are covered in mountains or some shit. Like there's not a lot of room to raise like grazing animals. They don't have the space for it. So they did have very quick replenishable nutrition through rice and vegetables, and they do depend a lot on the ocean. I wouldn't say that it's a little bit of fish like that.
No, it's not as much as you would say that is been shown.
I don't think it's
really.
at the heart of it. It's not like when we have like a giant steak for our dinner. Like, yeah, that's true. But even still, it sounds like this is stuff that's being shipped over there, not necessarily being produced there. And if it's the same stuff as us, then yeah, it's already fucking poisonous. So I'm not surprised.
Well, and they've seen, with the overfit, they've seen already like how with the lifestyle that's been, mutated, like when I say mutated, I mean by like the evolution of just Western influence.
Mhm.
Also with like the rise of like sushi and all that stuff, they're seeing a change in their oceans. They're seeing overfishing happening. There's a lot of stuff that's changed for them too environmentally. Like the environment is because that's what I mean by they didn't have, because everyone's now overgorging themselves on meats, including fish. Now there's not replenishable, not to the same degree that it was even just 20, 30, 50 years ago before the Western culture came in. That's part of that overconsumption that's happening. They didn't do that as much.
Another brilliant point you just came up with: overconsumption. Let me shift gears here into more of a positive message here.
Mhm.
So when it comes to eating, when it comes to survival, when it comes to thriving, when it comes to existing,
Yes.
what we seriously need to do is, especially guys like me, I am a battling overweight dude. It sucks. I hate it. To this, I've lost 40 pounds, but I'm still embarrassed by it. It still sucks to be me, but damn it, I'm fighting and I'm learning. And there are so many things that I regret because I didn't know these things 25 years sooner. Inflammation is the enemy of mankind. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. Inflammation is the enemy of mankind. Our bodies are not supposed to be inflamed. They're just not. Okay, and we're not supposed to be, we are not supposed to be battling inflammation with ibuprofen 6 times a week. That's not what it's there for. We're not supposed to be pumping ourselves full of drugs. We're not supposed to be downing a bunch of pills and shit. Pardon my French there. And we're not. It's just not how it's supposed to be. Let me say this. We come from a long, and my God, do I mean long, line of hunters and gatherers. We were hunting and gathering 3 generations before us? 3. In the span of time, whether you believe in God or you believe in the Big Bang, and you believe in the Earth has been here 2,000 years versus 1,000,000 years, it doesn't matter. 3 generations prior to us, which is a dot in the span of the universe, we were hunting and gathering, which means we were going a period of time where we were hunting and we were hungry. And we were gathering, we were gardening, the agriculture was huge, and we were doing it ourselves. We were not eating for a very large portion of time. God bless the Indians for figuring this out before we did, and being nice enough to spread this little message. It takes 100,000 years for our genetics to adapt to what we're doing to ourselves today. Meaning 100,000 years from now, humankind will be able to thrive and live 100, 110, 120 years on fried crap and the way we're eating now. You know what I mean? And that's just not the way it needs to be. We need to get back to allowing our bodies to process what we put in it. Am I telling you quit eating blizzards from Dairy Queen? No, I'm not telling you quit eating blizzards. What I'm saying is that have a sweet treat every once in a while, but try to focus on getting the proper nutrition. Round 4 to Anthony, again, with a fantastic point. Minerals. Get your minerals and your nutrients in. The things that you need. The clean water is good. The one ingredient is good. Vegetables and fruits, they're great. Your
What-
digestive system is going to love you for it,
And-
allowing your
brought
body.
something up too, that with that people used to have this sense of agriculture. Like the best advice for what you're saying today is to start gardening, to try to grow some of your own stuff. Like
Or
especially
make
if it's
friends
just
with
little
someone
things.
who does.
Well, I mean, my mother does. My mother has a whole cornucopia in her backyard of peppers, zucchinis, every kind of herb you can think of. She's got lemons, oranges, limes, cherries, you name it. And it's because she enjoys that side of it. But as a result, she makes a lot of very fresh at-home meals with those ingredients, and that's a good, healthier start. Especially if it's just little things like basil and mint and rosemary. Like those are all great additives.
Those are
for
all
recipes.
great for you.
There you go.
And
they're
if it and there's little itty bitty things you could do. Like if you do eat rice, a lot of times you can always switch white rice for brown rice. It's very simple to do.
I've heard that that's a myth. I've
It's
heard that
not.
the talk about white rice and brown rice is actually somewhat
Not.
misleading.
Okay.
I was just reading an
Well,
article.
but the little so the reason why is because what they'll do is they bleach. A lot of times they bleach the rice. You want to get wild rice, or you want to get the rice that is like jasmine rice is naturally a whiter rice. But the problem, you don't want to get long grain white rice because it's bleached rice.
Well, yeah,
However,
you don't want processed bleach rice, but
you don't
if
want
the other ones that you
processed
mentioned
rice,
aren't
or that
as
added. But they're
Now, you're
Mhm.
correct. Now, here's where the myth comes in. A lot of people buy into the fact that if you go to the store and you substitute your Uncle Ben's white rice for the box of the brown rice, that it's automatically going to be better for you. It's not going to be better for you
No,
because
that's
it's
all I'm
still
Sugar.
enriched
that's what I'm talking
flour
about.
crap. Wild rice, as you mentioned, I love pointing
that's
at
great.
you. Wild rice, whether you have it wild white, wild brown, yeah. But even then, it's still a carbohydrate which causes inflammation, which needs to be portioned. It needs to be
that's
portioned.
it right there. It needs to
Absolutely,
be
you want to be
portioned.
portioned.
But it is one that breaks down a lot quicker in the body other
Yeah,
than
it's a
like
better
the fats.
fiber.
Correct. Let me attack these two words right here, and then I'll shut up.
Okay.
Let me start here with fast. We need to get away from foods that are fast. We need to get away from deep frying. We need to get away from it. We need to get away from deep frying. We need to get away from grade D meat that is grilled super, super quick on a freaking toxic grill that's like never cleaned.
I agree.
It's and again, I'm preaching to the choir here. We need to get away from it because again, we're causing more inflammation. Here's the other thing: convenience. Nobody needs to be packing away a Snickers every 3 hours. You don't need to be eating every 3 hours. Unless you're a type 1 diabetic who has to monitor their sugars, and there are so many beautiful, responsible ways you can monitor your sugars and make sure you're getting the right type of nutrients so that you are okay. You don't need to eat every 3 freaking hours. You've got to
Well,
let your
especially not
body
Snickers.
process. No, absolutely
Especially not
not.
Snickers. If you want to go and grab like some vegetables or whatever, like eating broccoli or doing that, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's
But even
what
still, you're not
talking
giving
about.
your body time to digest that.
Correct.
is it-
Actually, those are actually very high in fibers, things that actually kickstart your body into metabolism.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
absolutely.
I actually know quite a bit about nutrition. As I said, my mom was when growing up for us, especially being a very poor family, and my mom being as much into the health craze as she was, I ended up learning a lot of stuff that's not really talked about, and even went even further. Now she does that whole thing, and she complains why she's so why she has so much inflammation. I'm like, Mom, you know these things. You're the one who taught me these things. Like,
You want to know
and
why?
then-
You want to know why? She has the same battle that I probably have, and it's all up here. It's all up here, and the reason why it's up here is because there are chemical reactions
oh yeah,
that
absolutely.
carbs cause, that synthetic carbs cause. You know,
Well,
it's-
same with cheese.
it's not
like
a
she's-
myth. It's not a
Yeah.
freaking myth when people say, "Oh man, McDonald's French fries, you know, they got something hypnotic in them that that makes you just want to go back and want more." Yeah, dumbass, it's called freaking synthetic carbs. How about the fact that it's like not real potatoes? It's like 30% paper rolled up and deep fried.
I
Like,
can't
it's
eat
like-
chicken nuggets ever again.
It's
That's for
making me
sure.
think of So I Married an Axe Murderer. Because I
Oh
put
my
addictive
God.
chemicals in it that make you crave it fortnightly, you smartass.
That is, it's a
I love
ridiculously
that.
true statement. Down in the comment
sure.
section, Janina says, companies in the U.S. do not look at what is healthy for us; they look at the bottom dollar. That is so
Well, yeah, you have Monsanto.
unbelievably
Right.
true.
You have companies like Monsanto that literally like put proprietary things, like they change, genetically modify the way that foods are grown. They put
Yes.
Roundup on our wheat to kill it, to make it easier to ground it up, because they don't want because it would cost more to have the tractors ground up live wheat. That is something that is a huge process. This is why people more and more in the last 30 years have become allergic to wheat. That's why they
Mhm.
become gluten intolerant, because our bodies cannot process that wheat. This is why I have reactions of American wheat when I don't have reactions to wheat in other countries for the same reason.
Well,
Because
there's also significantly less ingredients. If you go over to Italy, Aubrey, and you have a fresh loaf of bread from a bakery in Italy, like right off the street,
oh yeah,
it's going to be 1,000 times better than what you're going to get from Wonder Bread here, because it's 100%
I
whole.
don't eat Wonder Bread anyways, never have. But yes,
it's
I agree.
It's 100% whole ingredients. They do so well. They do so unbelievably well. It's portioned right. I have a French bakery here in town, in my county, that their recipe is there's nothing synthetic in anything that they have. All right, the yeast, the flour, all of it is it's foreign. It's foreign. It's brought here. They cook it. They bake it all here. And I literally, my diabetic numbers started coming down just by changing the bread I ate. It was remarkable.
I mean,
It
I have
really was.
celiac. So I can't have wheat. I can't eat wheat. My body doesn't process it. I get very sick, even with just the tiniest portions. So, but when I was in Japan, they actually make their own wheat. They grow their own wheat. I don't make. That's silly, but they use their own wheat. They have Japan raised wheat, and I didn't have any reactions from it.
Isn't that something?
And it was amazing. And then I went to and I saw the difference, because I went to one restaurant in. We went to a restaurant in, I think it was in Tokyo, and it was a Chinese food place, but they used American wheat, and I was sick as a dog.
Yeah.
It was awful. And like just immediately after it, like the reaction of it was so incredibly, it was painful. It was upsetting. I was throwing up. I was having diarrhea. It was awful. Like I almost went to the hospital. It was bad. Like I was in so much pain. Like my whole insides felt like they were churning, because I didn't realize that it was being breaded by American wheat, and that was
living here and having what we have makes a proper human diet one of the most challenging things in the world.
Well, we also have Health at Every Size as a movement too, which I mean has to play some sort of X factor into the discussion about nutrition. So I mean, we have these two parallels now, right? Like it's to be healthy, but can you define healthy? Because that's now subjective. It is very complicated, and unfortunately, there's no easy fix as long as we have like 8 parent companies running every single business in this world.
Correct.
I think the big thing is education and understanding where you're getting your facts from. Like, as I said earlier, is about the Diabetes Association. Where are they getting most of their money and their information? Well, it's from the meat and cheese companies.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. This is something that actually is true. You can look it up easily. And unfortunately, a lot of our nutritionists are not getting the proper education that they need, because a lot of health places are bought by companies. These are companies that are telling us what is healthy and what isn't. That is a big deal. And people are like, oh, you're making too much of a big deal about this. I'm like, this is because we have these. Why would they want us to do that? Because partially it's two things. It's misinformation and not being educated and beat money,
Well,
lobbying.
it's called big companies know people are stupid. They're not going to do the work. They're not going to look at the back of the box. They're not going to take the time. Oh, it says it's a diet product. Well, I guess that means that I'm on a diet and it's good for me. All right, cool. This will get my goals, except it's still terrible. It's still terrible.
Let's be healthy. I'm going to go get some keto ice cream. Get the freak out of here with that. Not with your 87 grams of carbs per serving. That shit is keto. Get that out of here.
Like
I get
I
looked at the back. I was like, this isn't keto friendly. What the fuck is it? What?
I get one of those, these smaller things of like vegan ice cream, right? Like it's made out of coconut milk or a pistachio or cashew milk. I get one of these, right? It took me 2 months to go through that thing because I just can't. So it's like I eat like 3 or 4 bites of it and I'm like, all right, I'm good.
I'm done. Yeah.
I can't, I'm done.
I've heard there's fun recipes with like bananas and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's some really good. There's some delicious ones that are really.
Let's give Dave a chance to chime in.
Yeah, I was going to say,
real
Dave,
quick.
you want to talk about the subject really badly. I'm like, David, how you doing?
Well,
David, sorry, please talk.
Well, first of all, my inner 7th grader is going to jump out here real quick. I've never understood the idea behind like I call it nut milk, pistachio milk, cashew milk. First of all,
There it is.
can you show me where the fuck the tit is on a cashew?
Okay, so there's this whole thing about. Yeah, that's not what they mean by that. But one, we're the only species that drinks milk from other animals, and people wonder why we're so sick and fat. So we have
I mean,
problems.
not that I
That's
want to
not
have
how
natural
we should
breast
that
milk
way.
available in the grocery stores either.
But
Let alone
that's
not
a
your
huge
own
issue.
mother's.
Yeah.
Right. But we're
My son
eating-
just heard my comment. He just came walking in here. He's like, you know what, Dad? I once saw a cashew that looked like a penis. Thanks, Gabriel, for that.
That's Gabriel.
That's a whole
really
that's a
funny. I
whole
love
different
it.
kind of nut milk, son.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. Yep.
Dave, we can always count on you.
Dave, I had to make a dick joke for Van just because you were not there. I had to.
What? And I missed it.
You missed it. Van was like, "We're going to talk about food," and then he shows a lightsaber.
Oh my god.
Can
I
you
find it
can
funny
you do
how
the
many-
joke again, just for me, just for my own?
I missed
Pleasure.
when you came in, so damn.
I just find it funny how we have so many like faux meats now, like the Beyond Meat, the Impossible Meat,
I
like
love
the stuff that mimics meat
love
but
it.
isn't meat. And again,
Oh,
we're
it's
saying meat
impossible.
is
It's
bad,
impossible meat.
but we want
impossible
our
to
other stuff
digest.
to still
Impossible to
mimic
eat.
because we like the flavor.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Plant-based
dicks.
chicken.
I mean, really, that there's.
Sorry, Van.
I mean, really, what you're really getting when you're eating meat is really just the spices, anyways. Just saying.
She's not wrong.
No, that's
Tell you what
absolutely
you're doing,
true.
you're marinating.
Bland ass meat's terrible. Gordon Ramsay will tell you that.
Not true at all. It all depends on how you cook it. I can cook a steak.
Yeah,
You don't
with
need to put
salt
anything
and
on it.
pepper as a necessity.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean,
I will
again,
challenge you to a cook-off,
you
sir,
could also
and I will
say-
see which dish wins.
Let me say
Get
this.
barbecue at my
Private
house, guys.
pork.
Come on.
A grain-fed cow will put out better meat than will put out better tasting meat than a grass-fed cow. However, grass-fed is nutritionally better and safer for you.
I will agree with that. Even though I don't think that, eating meat is great anyways. But I never liked meat. And again, you could also go into genetics. Genetics plays a factor.
A huge factor.
And blood type.
Absolutely.
And blood type too.
Mhm.
They have studies that talk about blood types and how, like I'm an AB and maybe positive. So let's say like
Wow.
that, which is basically like the where the blood type that is like the vegans of the blood type group, like versus O's. And if you have O's, you may need to have more. I mean, this is all theoretical stuff, but they've shown consistently through data that anybody eating meat over a period of time is going to have much more adverse effects versus a vegan diet.
It's researchable.
something
It's
true.
absolutely researchable.
Aubrey,
This is
let me
something
ask you. Let me ask you a vegan question.
Uh-oh.
If two vegans are arguing, is it still called a beef?
It's a good dad joke right there.
That was awesome.
No, it's called a row. I
That
don't
was
know.
great. Yeah, row's good. That's good. I'm just
Couldn't
good with
help
that.
myself.
And
Well, I think we've attacked the subject into the ground.
yes, I think this is good.
Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, bottom line, if you can, try to put some distance between your meals, especially at the end of your early evening to the end of your late morning. Try to do it. Try to go as long as you can after dinner until you have your breakfast, which is break fast, which is why it's called that. And try to put 6 to 8 hours between your meals. It's been working for me. Exercise is an important thing, but you don't have to overdo it. And if you can avoid things drenched in oil, aside from putting a little olive oil on your salad or searing your salmon with avocado oil, that's fine. But getting your French fries every single
Or
freaking
oil.
day, that's a bad idea.
Or coconut oil, because coconut oil is actually really good for you.
Coconut oil too.
Except for
I know
now they're
people are
trying to
allergic
they're
to
trying
it.
to lobby to have it like out because it's so actually nutritionally valuable. Which is
Oh,
really interesting.
By the
Mm,
way,
lobbying
that
for it.
reminds me, when you purchase your oils, please check them. If you
Yes.
read the label, there are certain extra virgin olive oils that if you read the label, it'll tell you it'll have certain amount of extracts in it, and some of them say seed oil or
Oh.
sunflower oil. If it says that, it's not extra virgin.
Oh, also you do not want partially homogenized. You
Correct.
do not want any of that. That's why margarine is actually really terrible for you. Just saying that is actually a carcinogen as well because of the partially hydrogenized. Sorry, not homogenized, hydrogenized.
Hydrogenated.
Hydrogenated. I said it incorrectly. Leave me alone.
No, that's not what I'm laughing at. I'm laughing at olive oil. Forget it. I had a Popeye joke come up. And
Yeah, I had a different joke running through my head.
Well, we're saying spinach is good too.
No, I'm just saying I can only picture olive oil as a virgin.
Oh god.
I was thinking the olive oil is extra
They have
virgin.
sweet tea.
I was thinking the olive oil is extra
Split
virgin,
roast.
but she has been to prom. Sorry.
Mm,
Aubrey,
Bad
we're gonna start
form.
our own show, right?
Bad form. Yeah, we are. Yep, exactly.
Janina says, if high cholesterol runs in your family, then yes, you need to limit your red meats. It's knowing your family history. Fun fact about cholesterol, some cholesterols, like cholesterol has been looked at the wrong way, and it was recently put out. Because again, it's not the fat that's killing us. It's the inflammation. And the inflammation comes from carbohydrates, synthetic carbohydrates, and simple sugars. If you really, really, really think about it, if you eat a stick of butter, it's not going to solidify in your artery and clog you. Why?
No,
Because
but I bet
you're-
it'll make you
you're-
feel like shit.
It'll make you feel like crap, but
it will cause
it'll
cause
cause
inflammation.
it'll cause
It's gonna
things
cause
that-
inflammation though. Let's call a spade there. That's a lot that's being put in your
Yeah, but
body.
what he's saying
but,
is it's not going to
no.
clog your arteries and solidify, and they're going to scrape butter out of you. Like,
But
that's
keep an
not-
eye on the types of cholesterol that you're
Mhm.
because cholesterol is another thing your body
There's
requires
healthy
to
fats
work.
and there's bad fats.
There is
Exactly.
good cholesterol. There is bad cholesterol.
cholesterol.
Okay, I have to ask because this has happened like 5 times in my life.
Mhm.
Are eggs good for you or bad for you? Because they can't seem to make up your fucking mind about it.
Eggs are fine. There is
Yeah,
nothing
I'd
wrong
say it
with
depends
them.
on which
Just
chicken's
moderation.
ass it came out of.
No,
Eggs
If
are
it was
fine.
one of those,
One-
if it was one of those
one is
chickens that has all the
moderation.
hormones and stuff like you were talking about,
right.
those
there's
eggs
that,
probably
but
aren't all that great.
homegrown eggs generally
Ingrown
are
egg?
going to be homegrown eggs. Like
Like if you have your
homegrown
own chicken
chickens.
If you have your own chicken
Like
coop,
chickens.
yeah.
Yeah, those are generally going to be healthier for you because most of the time they're fed better than actual you
Mhm.
know farm the big farm chickens,
Right.
cage chickens, you know,
Mhm.
factory chickens. I know because we have adopted farm chickens. Farm chickens. We've raised chickens versus we also bought factory chickens that we took home. So they were very sick, very ill, very malnourished, but also pumped full of hormones and never got to stand up or move around in their life. That is very different. The type of eggs that they laid were very different than the eggs that the chickens that we raised laid. That being said, it just moderation is good. I can't have eggs anymore. They do horrible things, but that doesn't mean that they're not bad that they're not, you know, bad for everyone. I'm vegan not by necessarily choice, but because of health. I have to do it for my health reasons. So
Do you ever eat any type of meat product at all?
nope.
Do you drink milk?
Nope.
No,
Nut
she
milk.
said she's vegan. Why
She
would
likes
she do
she
either
likes
of those
cashew milk
things?
and pistachio milk.
Because I actually am severely lactose intolerant. Plus, it causes migraines.
Oh, really?
I was a projectile vomiting baby. My mom had to make nut milks before that was a thing. And then when I was probably about 5 or so, I decided that I was going to brave it out, and because I wanted to be a normal kid, and forced myself to be able to have those things, and it caused a lot of sickness for me. But I just got used to it, and it did not help my body really at all. And then finally, I had to face that problem when I started having migraines weekly. So I had to stop eating it because it was a big trigger.
See, I've never.
So when I have anything with littlest bit of dairy in it, I get migraines. It's like clockwork.
You know, I never drank milk. I never liked it as a drink choice. But I do like cheese. But fun enough, there's this like shop here in Lodi that's the cheese shop, and apparently they were telling us that after cheese ages for a certain amount of time, that the lactose is actually gone. So if you get the right age type of cheese, it might not affect you if you're lactose intolerant. I don't know
Extra
necessarily
sharp
how else that
cheddar.
goes. I love extra sharp cheddar. But I like the Gruyères and like the kind of more firm, like crumbly cheeses, if that makes sense. They usually have the little crystals in them and they're salty. I like it.
Tim
I also lost
Korea.
a lot of weight when I stopped eating cheese.
Check
Sorry,
check
go
this out. Tim Korea says, I believe we've conditioned ourselves to eat shit to the point when we're faced with pure food, the body sees it as alien. That is a stone cold
That's
fact.
true.
It is absolutely fact. But check this out. Here's some good news. You can reverse that.
Yes.
And this is, and I know we're running out of time, and I'm gonna touch on this briefly. There is something that the body does that the medical industry does not want any human being alive to know about. It is called autophagy. Autophagy is a state that your body goes into where it disposes of everything bad. Dead cells, old mitochondria, toxins. It takes up to a 72-hour fast to activate it. Now, our bodies are typically in autophagy to a fractional state, but in order to dispose of all the crap you put in it so that new cells can be built. Why would you want to build new cells on the top of old crappy cells? You don't. You want your body to get rid of all that crap. So we've conditioned ourselves to eat shit to the point where we're faced with pure, okay, yes, we have. But if you do a stupidly long fast to the point where you've activated autophagy in its full form and your body disposes of that crap, then you eat some really good food on top of it, you're going to come back stronger than ever before. It really, really works. This is how, kiddos, diabetes is cured. The medical industry, up to probably 2 years ago, was feeding us BS about, oh, type 2 diabetes, you're stuck with it forever. It's a degenerative disease and it's going to ultimately kill you. Bullshit. No, it's not. Because I myself cured myself of it.
I
Just
also
by
cured my
lowering-
hypothyroidism by becoming vegan as well.
How about-
So,
Yeah.
so if you eat full whole foods and you cut out meats, you cut out all of the dairy, you cut out all that stuff, you can cure yourself of these diseases, including
Yes, you can.
diabetes. And the big industry doesn't want you to know that because
Nope.
of big pharma. They would rather you be on, a thyroid
Supplement.
it's not a supplement. It's a thyroid. Basically, I'm not thinking of the word right now.
Medicine.
It basically like gives it overtakes the thyroid. It does what the thyroid's supposed to do. But it basically will kill off the thyroid. Even if your thyroid is acting even a little under, the medicine will make it worse. It will put your hormones back to normal, but it will also make it worse. And they have found through studies that if you go on a vegan diet, completely fasting out of all of the crap, going on it does heal it.
Mm-hmm.
What's up,
And
Steve?
Yeah.
And in some cases, depending upon how your genetics works,
Same with diabetes.
some people have been able to do the same thing on a ketovore or a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
Where they
Agree.
swear off carbohydrates completely, even the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they go completely carnivore, and their meat sources are good. They're good meat sources. And these guys are strict. I'm talking about their beef. They're paying top dollar for their beef. It's all grass fed. They have the chicken coop out back. They know how to properly clean the eggs. They get their pork from an actual butcher, so their bacon is good. Like, there are people out there who, just like the vegan population has, carnivores have been able to beat diabetes, beat back all these diseases, just by eliminating the common factor in all of this, which is inflammation. Van, I'm done. I've pushed health into the ground with this one, but damn, I'm passionate about it.
It's definitely been a good thing. When you were talking about the autophagia too, it doesn't even. You were talking about up to 73 or autophagy. Sorry, you were saying up to 73 hours, but that's not even when it kicks in. It kicks in a lot earlier. So
it can, depending upon the person, and it also depends upon the diet. If you've been giving yourself crap for a long time, then yeah, if fasting is new to you, then autophagy is going to kick in way the hell sooner. But if you're somebody who's been doing it like 2 years, like I have, it's going to take a lot longer because, again, like anything, the body becomes accustomed to something. Even the food that we eat, like Tim McCurry was saying, we've been feeding ourselves for, well, shit, most of the people on the screen right now, 30 plus. I mean, I went many years on chicken pot pies and Lucky Charms and basically nothing good. So, I paid for it horribly.
Right. There's definitely a big conspiracy. I think they make it confusing on purpose. The more confusing it is, the easier it is for them to hide their true intentions. All right, guys. Well, you know what? We're about 13 minutes from the end. I think we can start doing our wrap ups. Oh, there's another comment coming in here. Here's food for thought. Where does the tax money come from? Healthy working people. You would think that the government would promote nutrition more to encourage a healthy work base.
That is
they're profiting more off of the pharmaceutical industry. So no.
Right, that's the lobbyists.
True.
It's not necessarily the politicians, but the lobbyists in D.C. And how many groups they have that are pushing their agendas.
But a positive, pain-free, strong worker is going to be a good worker. That's undeniable. If you have a strong, healthy, mentally and physically healthy person at work, able to do their job at 100% capacity, the quality is going to improve.
Right. I guess it comes down to different motivations, though, right? If I'm a pharmaceutical company that does nothing to put money in my pockets, so my job is to keep you sick and to get you to spend more money on drugs that I can keep you on.
Chili dogs for everybody.
Woohoo!
I want a Twix now.
I want a deep fried stick of butter.
Angry? Try a Snickers.
Lovely.
Chocolate butter.
Big Pharma
Because
is an
chocolate's healthy.
immediate and guaranteed return. Yep.
Chocolate is healthy in certain cases.
Especially since they don't pay taxes
chocolate.
here. All right, guys. Why don't we got about 11 minutes to the end, so actually it's a good time to start doing our little roundup, seeing who we have here tonight, and for everybody to promote whatever it is they would like to promote. So let us start with David. Aubrey's always got something, so I like to save her. David, what
I'm
you
not.
got, my
I'm
man?
not prepared. I didn't think of anything. I don't even have anything dirty to say right now. That's crazy for me.
First.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it'll come to me later. You'll hear about it in the chat. I'm sure.
Oh,
Hey, you know, I can always count on you to give us the jokes.
He ran out of
Oh,
nut
yeah.
milk. That's the problem.
Yeah, no
Right.
milk here.
Right.
It's an age thing. Not a whole lot to. Well, I do have something to promote. There's a new group on Facebook called Nerdists. Come check it out.
Yes, come and check it out.
Woohoo! All right, very cool. Okay, let's
Post
go.
whatever you like. The dirtier the better too. As long as it has something to do with being nerdy dirty.
Nerdy,
Dirty,
dirty.
Dirty. Oh, God.
Oh
I
my
can't, David.
God.
I can't with you.
And well,
Oh, man.
here's one I posted on there. I posted this on there. Always use meatloaf as your safe word.
I
It
saw
means you will
that.
It means you'll do anything for love, but you won't do that.
But I won't do that.
Also,
Boris.
don't
Oh,
eat
and
meatloaf. It's bad for you.
realize. Don't forget the key word in that is meat. Yeah, meat. There you go. I'm done.
All right, Forrest, what you got?
All right. My name is Aaron. I go by ForzFX. If you are a member of the lightsaber community, I create sound fonts that go into these things. You can find my work on saberfont.com. You can find my work at forzfx.com. Additionally, I'm part of another podcast called All the Spice, which is just a bunch of nerdy gamer tech talk. Subscribe to the Helmet Fire channel to find that. Episode 3 is coming out here in a couple of days. And also, if you're into sabers and whatnot, head over to Kyber Cave and pick yourself up one. I think it's. Did you guys give a free saber away yet?
Two, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, we hit our 50 mark and we gave away. It was somebody had just met that day at a toy fair in Sacramento too, so it was
Very
kind of
good.
cool.
That's awesome.
So you could do that. And finally, be on the lookout here pretty soon. Myself and possibly a couple people on this screen might be participating in some outside projects pertaining to some voice acting, which would be a lot of fun. So,
Woo!
Anthony,
What?
what?
You want me to voice act with you? I'll do it.
Yes. Also, it's your turn.
Okay, it's my turn. Well, to go back to David not having something dirty to say, I can fill that void. I feel that through this conversation, it would be fair to point out that him and I probably like different types of meat in our mouths.
Oh,
Mine is actually relatively low carb. It does not have much in the fat department. Sometimes I do get some vitamins, though.
wow!
It's very lean. Anywho,
I'll bet it's gluten free too.
probably. On the other hand, again, come see my show Wednesday. We had to cancel this last week because it was so godly unhot, it was so ungodly hot.
Yours got canceled too, Anthony?
Oh yeah, no, we decided to shut it down early and not do it because we were gonna have rolling blackouts throughout Lodi, and then like legit every single area of Lodi got dark at some point here and there throughout the day. So it's like, yeah, there's no point. There's no point to go to a drag show if all of a sudden the music goes off, and then everybody goes home.
Yeah. Mine
But
got canceled from the heat too.
that and the fact of the matter is that drag is not a summer sport. I have layers. It is not comfortable. The tits that I wear typically already create an extra 12 degrees of heat on my body, and I really don't feel like having a heat stroke. So I'm glad we're coming back for
I
a
relate.
sexy theme night this coming Wednesday. We're doing lace and leather. or leather and lace, whatever, sexy shit. And then outside of that, today is the first day on Kyber Cave that I did not have an alcoholic beverage the entire time.
Oh wow!
Momentous occasion.
Right?
Woo.
Slightly. It just means I was less obnoxious and red in the face, so I'll take that.
Next
are
week at
Master
Kyber Cave,
Roshi-ing
everybody's drinking.
Yes, drinking game, drinking history.
What was
and
that about,
quickly to
I
Steve,
said he wasn't Master Roshiing it.
Oh my god.
really quickly to Steve, and
That
thank
sounded
you,
good.
Janina, for
You know
answering the
you
question.
love
But
me.
yes, we do start at 8 p.m. now, as opposed to 9. So the show goes from 8 to 10 to help
Good night, Janina.
accommodate our East Coast friends just a little bit more. I know it's just like 11 p.m. as opposed to midnight, but hey, every hour counts, right? Alrighty. Okay. Then I guess
Aubrey.
that's
Aubrey.
yes. Yeah, you finish up, Anthony?
Yes, I did.
He's
All
trying
right.
to skip me. That was really what was happening there. I'm Aubrey. I'm an actress and a singer, and
Yay.
yeah, and I'm part of a new band called BYL. We just put out our Facebook page.
Woo!
You guys should go and check it out. And yeah, we'll be releasing new songs soon. And yes, Forrest and I are going to be doing some voice acting projects. And yeah, we may even have, a show or two. Please go and look at our new page, Nerdlist, as well. Please go and like it. It's amazing. And join it and have all the fun. So, and also Kyber Cave. If you guys aren't part of that page yet, I don't know what you're doing here. Honestly.
Mm.
So yeah, so you'll be hearing some more projects, some music, some good stuff from me soon.
Yay! Lots of fun stuff.
So lots of fun things.
Include and on top of your live karaoke shows too.
Oh yeah, I also have a live karaoke show. I'll be probably starting a new one later this month. Yeah, at the Delta Queen in Isleton, and I
A
also
new one meaning
have
an additional one.
on Saturday.
Oh wow!
Yeah, right now I'm up in the Maple Room. I'm training somebody in Sacramento, but it looks like I might be switching it to another show on Saturdays in Isleton, which is nice
Wow.
because not as much driving, but at least as far in the heat, which is awful. But yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there tomorrow night. But after that, I'll probably be starting at the new place. So.
Alrighty.
But on Wednesdays, if you're not doing anything, you want to come to Rio Vista because it's a beautiful little town. There's nothing to do. We have shows, karaoke shows. You can hear me sing, and yeah, you can request me to sing anything because I will. And yeah, that's me. You can come to
Van.
the Bird of Rio Vista.
Van,
Yes.
put me on the screen before you exit out.
Hold on. Oh, I thought it went over. There it is.
All right. So last week, everybody at Kyber Cave was super, super nice at wishing me a happy birthday, and you guys have zero clue as to how much that meant to me. Fours did benefit from SAC Anime, even though I live all the way in Florida. So shout out to everybody on this screen who took the extra time and made these happen. Especially,
wow.
especially Dave
Especially
and Aubrey.
David.
My God, I can't find these. So the fact that y'all were willing to camp out at that store and get them for me is the greatest thing ever. And y'all are, I love y'all so much.
Yeah, I just wasn't feeling well at all Saturday, so David totally did. He was the goat. I will have to say you were the goat, David.
It's
You
onion.
Oh,
freaking
he
Onion.
does
knows
have a heart.
I was hap-
of gold.
I was
Look at
happy to do it.
David.
So
Yeah.
I'm a swelling goat right now.
That's not when you say the goat. That means you're just the great.
Great.
Speaking of
all
which,
Yeah.
I want to thank Daryl Garmon over at Sight and Sound Audio Visual for hooking up the Kyber crew with all of those free tickets to get in.
Yeah, thank you.
My kid wanted to go last minute, so he was able to go without me having to come up with $45 or whatever it was. So yes, thank you, Daryl, and it was really cool to get to hang out with some of you guys, outside of here. I like IRL.
one of these days, if I come out there or we find a place in between, or you come here, we're gonna get together at some point.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna have
That'd
fun
be
for us.
awesome.
I can't wait for you and your lovely wife and kids to come out here and meet all of you.
And big barbecue at my house.
Woo-hoo. We'll do a meat
I'll
test
eat- I'll-
comparison.
And I will even barbecue some asparagus and other veggies just for you, Aubrey.
I like mushrooms too. They're really good.
Mushrooms. Big fan of mushrooms here. Yeah, for sure.
Fan, close the show.
All right, my name
Get
is
us outta
Arctic
here.
Scala with the Kyber Cave. We have a fantastic guest this Sunday night. I am very excited for. It is actually a game producer. We are going to have from, I believe, EQ Games. Make sure to check it out Sunday night. If you have not shared this, please do. We are like 40 people away from our next Saber giveaway, and we are always excited to give away Sabers. So please share with people. Get the word out there about Kyber Games. We do this show every Friday night at 8 p.m. and every Sunday at 7. We have Saber Rattle. Make sure to check out our website for all your Saber needs and accessories. And on that note, I have... Oh, everything's moving so slow. I have an outro for us. All right, y'all. We will see you guys next
week.
Bye-bye.
Peace.
Bye.
And there we are.